Yes. And then the video, I'm sorry it's not working, but that video is just the sound of what it sounds like in the Parkview gym when we are playing these games, and the cheering that goes on by all of the little ones as they're cheering on their classmates.
I saw that on Facebook, and it's like, you're doing a whole lot right if you've got that many kids that excited.
Yeah, they were excited.
Yes.
And then my last one is kind of just, this is the start, but this is after a conversation we had at the last board meeting with regards to monitoring and creating some ideas of where we can have safe crossings. So it's not ready to be shared out with families, but at least those stars are all the 3 areas where we do have a crossing guard stationed there to help learners get across those intersections. So again, you can see the yellow star is going over by Parkview at Walnut and Horicon Street. That's where Mr. Monty crosses kids, and he's there each morning and each afternoon. You see the green star, that's at Clark and Breckenridge, and then the red star is where Mr. Kemp works and meets them at Henninger and Breckenridge, right at the corner of the middle school. So it's a start, and eventually we'll share something out with families.
When I glanced at it at first, I thought that it would be like green means go, red means not as safe.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
So I'm wondering if you might want to play with
colors.
the colors.
Yep, I will.
Yeah, because you're right, you see red.
Yeah, that's not what my
stars.
intention was. My
Yeah,
intention
I
was
figured that out
making
because
3
I'm like, no, that's a
distinct
safe
things.
one.
Yeah, just making 3 distinct ones.
Yeah.
But you're right, I shouldn't use those colors.
So we don't have any at Parkview anymore, right on the end of.
But when Mr. Krupke retired at the end of last year, we had posted for it and never had any takers, so at this point, we don't have someone.
But Becky, like, from your perspective,
It's been fine. I think our drivers and our families who are coming in
Well,
those
you don't have the
mornings-
cars there no more like you used to.
Right,
our conversation was, we think this is a Horicon Street conversation, right?
I do.
Yeah.
That was a big
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
In the meantime, it's still like, hey, we need to put our pieces together. This is where we have safe routes to school. We're gonna emphasize the
This is a great
positive.
map to share with families.
Yeah, so that's what we figure. Let's tell the story, make sure we're communicating, because that would be number 1.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, if there are concerns about this here, we just need to make sure that we're voicing those and that they're aware of it.
Not go crossing the street to meet their friend or whatever.
Yeah.
I noticed Horicon at, I think every crossing has now placed signs on either side. And I know they specifically have passed ordinances for no passing on the right. And they've even gone to the extent of putting up those flashing signs because of the problem there.
No, Dave,
But
They
they've
got
got
people
warnings
trained pretty good
at each.
because they do give out tickets.
And yet, I think it was in last week's paper, it's still a point of discussion in
Yeah.
Horicon. There's still,
Yeah, it
they
was.
still don't feel good about it, and they're still
Yeah,
working
it's-
on it, so.
It's dangerous there because of the highway.
Well, you got such a heavy traffic there, and
Yeah.
everybody's impatient nowadays, they wanna go around.
I know myself, I personally always, when I stop for somebody in that in those intersections, I pull myself over so the other car behind me couldn't get around me anyway.
Oh, you take it all over.
I just take up the whole
Good job.
space so they can't get around.
Stop
Bad
some
job.
morning and watch over by McDonald's and Spring Glen Apartments. That's where the
Oh,
elderly
right
live.
there,
Yeah.
yes,
And
that's
if
another one.
nobody even slows down for it.
Yep.
You watch these old people with a walker, it's a foot race to get across there. And it's flashing and they've got the crosswalks there, signed pedestrian crossing. That makes no difference.
So we're gonna get this communication piece put together, and then I guess we'll take it from there. What do you, as a board, what would you be, I know it's not clear tonight, but is there anything more you're looking, like, we're in the business of educating, so we gotta make sure that we're educating our students and staff and families about these are the safe ways to get to school, where we have crossing guards.
I think this needs to go out to all the parents and also to the public, in the paper, just to show that there's.
Okay,
Mm.
that's a good idea.
I like that.
Good idea, okay. That's perfect, that's a nice positive.
The kids, they really need to be warned when they do go across. Don't go without, even if a car stops for you. Because that's what's so dangerous in Horicon. If you stop, somebody will go around the right and.
Is there a lot of bicycle traffic in, not out of Parkview, I'm sure, the youngsters like that, but like at the middle school? I mean, during the year when the weather's nice, is there a lot of kids?
There's a fair
There's
amount.
great weather,
We got
15?
3 racks. I think the racks are 8+ feet long. They are full on both sides.
Right, you have to see a bicyclist stop for a stop sign. Just shoot through.
Well, same goes for them, like, that's what we're encouraging you to use. So literally, this is the safe way to get to school. These are the resources that we have. Here's where the crosswalks actually have crossing guards. And as a parent, that should be non-negotiable. This is where you train your students, your children to go. Anything after that, they're on their own. I'm like, you just wouldn't want that.
I'm only laughing because training only works for so long.
That's valid, well.
This one time it won't hurt.
Right.
Great, thanks Becky.
You're welcome.
Bob?
A reminder that our beginning band concert is tomorrow night at the middle school in the auditorium, starting at 6 p.m. If you're interested in coming to hear our youngest band players play their instruments. And also this week, we will be participating in Global School Play Day. It's a day, or actually it's going to be a couple hours in the afternoon, that actively encourages kids to play at school. What they're drawing from the literature of this group is that play will enhance children's social interaction, as well as increase creativity. So we are encouraging students to bring card games, board games, things from home to come play with their friends. And Mrs. Haney is here, and she did a lot to help organize this. And that includes having students from one side of our building interacting with the other, as well as students coming down from the high school, if you'd like to share your planning.
Sure. Hello, everybody. So on Wednesday, it's Global Play Day as well as World Read Aloud Day. So we are having some students from the high school come down for a grade 6 through 8 assembly, some minute to win it game, showing kids how we can play fairly and have a good time. And then students were all given the opportunity to choose which teacher they'd like to go to have a read aloud read to them. So we'll have kids kind of going all across the building to different classrooms to have a story read to them. So it should be a fun day.
Sounds good.
Lots of learning.
So, and that play doesn't include video games?
Right, no electronics.
Right, exactly.
Yep. Good old fashioned play.
Kids do need to learn those skills. I mean, if they're not exposed at home, I mean, just because you have board games at home doesn't mean they ever leave the closet, you know? So I just think it's important that we expose them to all that.
How many years is this that Mayville has done Global Play Day? I know it's been a couple already.
You know, a couple, right. I was at the high school previous. I don't know how far back it goes.
Oh, I love that the district is doing it. I'm thrilled with
I
that.
want to say it's at least
parent.
at least 4
Yeah,
years.
it's awesome.
Is it typically the same time as a global read aloud?
They just happen to fall on the
Yeah.
same
They
day.
fell on the
Typically
same day
separate,
last,
yeah.
or they fell on different days the last 3
Yeah,
years.
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
It would just be a big event.
Nice.
I think it started, Global Play Day started when I got here, and that was 3 years ago, so it wasn't nearly as big. We didn't take it on as like a whole school initiative, but now it's
Well, it's
taken
fun.
off.
Thank you, Bob. Lee? A couple things from the high school. I kind of chuckled at Becky's picture of the minute to win it. Although there's a large age difference, high school kids love the same activities that the little kids do with the marshmallows. So every now and then during assemblies or activities in the lunchroom, we'll do the same games that Becky holds at the Parkview, and it's the same thing. It's a lot of fun. Mr. Sable and I are working on course requests and section numbers for next year. As you can recall, about a month ago, the kids put in their requests, and then we scrub them basically daily to move sections, and if we have small sections, we may move kids into another course offering. And then we'll keep working on that this week. The next thing is parents were notified of our ACT prep sessions. We run them on Saturday morning, Sunday night, Tuesday and Thursday after school for about 2 hours. Myself and about 3 other teachers supervise those. We give the kids a chance to take as many practice tests as they can. And when we did the pre-ACT this year, the kids got their projected or predicted ACT score. So as part of these practice sessions, kids can work on what they believe is their low score or the area they would like to improve on. And we'll run those right up until March 1st. We also provide the parents and kids, when we reported their scores back to them, a couple sites, act.org and Method Test Prep, that are very good sites for kids to practice in. This Wednesday, we have a representative from UW Oshkosh coming down. to speak with our students who are planning to attend a state university school, Whitewaters, Oshkosh's, etc., and just speak to them about their placement tests. Even if they're not going to Oshkosh, Chris has developed a nice relationship with them up there, and they're going to come down and just explain the process of placement tests and the importance of getting one set up, because you may be going to La Crosse, but if La Crosse's placement tests fill up, you need to find another location. So that's what we'll be working with our seniors on Wednesday. And then finally, Cardinal Singers this past week. We're up at De Pere. For those of you that have followed show choir for many years, New London used to be this show. New London stopped hosting a show choir performance. De Pere picked up the date, and we are glad to announce that our Way Cool band won the Best Band Award, and Jackson Baldus won the Best Male Soloist. And the story behind the band, if you can oblige me for about 2 minutes, is that at some competitions you're allowed to have an adult in your band, and some you're not, based on what set of rules they're following. Well, when we arrived, and this is via JD and John, when we arrived Saturday, we were informed that this was a competition where you could not have an adult in the band. Normally John Dobrak would play keyboards. So as the story goes this morning, Mark Hazelberg and his family were up in Green Bay, and they got the call while they were touring the Packer Hall of Fame that we needed someone to play piano, and Mark plays piano. So while they're on the road back to the pier, JD and John are rewriting the part to get Mark the basics. Mark steps in and plays piano, and we won Best Band.
That's awesome. I was up there, and the competition was rough.
Yeah, if you look at the schools,
They were
I've got a list here.
And I mean, the average is 50 kids in a.
Yeah, and we've always talked about this, Sauk Prairie, Holman, Preble, Green Bay East, obviously New London, Burlington, Toma, Colby, Mayville, Hamilton, so we continue to compete with the big schools in the state, so, but.
Are they gonna be down at the shower center this year?
I'm sure.
I think they're on the schedule for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, and I believe they go to either Fort Atkinson or
Yeah.
West Liberty next week.
Fort
is
Atkinson.
next weekend.
Yep.
You know, to say, hey, they won, that's great, but then when you hear the schools they're competing against, well, that's really.
Well, I seen a couple of adults in the band, so that hurt a few of them. Well, you got a discount.
Yeah, exactly, yeah,
Oh.
you lose points.
You lose points.
They're at the shower center on April
If
7th.
you do that, but, and I'm happy for Jackson because show choir is still about singing and playing, and I get everything that goes along with it.
You could hear every word our kids sang, and that you can't see for all.
The voice quality of the Mayville
That's
kids still
awesome.
is,
Yeah.
going back years, is still some of the best.
That's a good feeling.
Outstanding. Thanks, Lee.
All right,
Brad, you gonna give us a report on after-school tutoring?
Good evening, board members. My name is Brad Sear. I've had a chance to introduce myself. Hopefully we have a presentation. My name is Brad Sear. I'm at the high school, and I was asked by Scott and Lee to help run the program. We have a program at the library as well at the Open Door Coffee House. And I think it was in our fall meeting at the high school for open house, I was asked to also create a brochure. So I got some information from the Wired Up Tutoring Program at the Open Door Coffee House. And so as we kind of look at things, excuse me, from 3:30 to 5:30, 4 days a week, we had the opportunity for our students in the Mayville community to get extra help. From 3:30 to 4:30 is through appointments. The way our appointment system works is that Mayville school teachers, as well as St. John's, making sure my community parochial schools, as well as open enrollment, they are sent out a message saying, if you have a student who's interested in some tutoring, could be in any of the subject areas, please get back to us. So we have a spreadsheet. So we receive an email, and we book them in our spreadsheet. We are booked out, I believe, until almost the end of February right now for appointments from 3:30 to 4:30. So we're busy. Especially at the Open Door Coffee House. At the library, we're not as busy there. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I'm either in the back meeting room. If you come in the back door of the library, I'm back there, or I'm out in the stacked area with the kids working there, depending on our numbers, depending on what activities are going on there. If you can click on the brochure.
Sorry.
So we had for parents, I created this little brochure that we passed out that night to various parents we thought might be interested in the program, and they could have then gone to the link that you see on the left-hand side. They click on it. It should load up if you,
Okay.
there we go. And that shows an example of what they're getting for the referrals. So I already sent it out for this week. I already sent it out. I was at the coffee house tonight. And if Scott can go back down just a little slower,
Sure.
Thank you. One of the things that we're sort of struggling at, what priority do you think you need to be? So first of all, they can pick a subject area, English, math, science, or other, and they let us know what the other might be. They pick us a level of priority, 1 through 5. Again, it's a tough rating scale. Early on, we were getting a lot of 5s, but we're trying to figure out how to sandwich all these kids in there if they're all 5 priorities, limited to the time we have. And then how many sessions? We set up the maximum at the time initially of 4, but that doesn't mean you can't re-sign up again and set up another time for 4. Typically, most of the kids, like tonight again, they're 1 hour. So we had 2 kids tonight from 3:30 to 4:30 for our appointments. Very rarely have we had a half an hour, just for the fact that some of the kids are walking, some of the kids are getting there. Time they get there, so it's worked out quite a bit for the 1 hour. And then they can be either referred by a teacher. So if at the middle school, we've asked all the teachers to send us off. If it's through a student, if they really feel that they need some help, or it's from a parent perspective as well. And if it's a parent, we just kind of go from there. So that's sort of how we take our appointment schedule based upon need that we see right here.
Brad, I'm going to interrupt you.
Sure.
Miss Megan,
Yes.
do you want to take credit for creating this? Is that your work or no?
It's a team effort.
All right. I want to compliment Megan because some of the initial conversations were with the representatives from Open Door,
Amy and
with Megan and
yep.
Scott before Brad came on, but I want to compliment Megan for her work that she's did on this.
So just kind of where the things are and what's available, so we have that out there. And the nice thing, we talked early on with Scott, the Pioneer, we also did a news article on that, so that was out promoting the program as well, to kind of let people in the local community aware of what we're doing here in Mayville. So kind of scoot back. And so, as I've kind of gone through some of the statistics, we've had 25 different student appointments have been made through the Open Door program. We've had students come from 8th grade through 12th. We've had a few kids also from 7th grade coming in. We tried not to do the 6th grade, but because early on we had some kids that were not showing up, we took some 6th graders as well. We have another high school helper who is very strong in math. And so if Mr. Kniprath and myself can't handle the math that's there, it's been a long time for calculus for a few of us. I'm sure you'd love to do calculus as well. All the school board members will test you on that. We have Matthew Schneider that helps us out with higher level math. We have had a couple math kids come on in, and we have had calculus kids come through. Numerous biology students. Whereas we look at, again, a lot of high schools, and I've been at 3 now, one of the toughest classes is biology. It's a required state requirement, so we've had a lot of kids from biology come down and get the extra assistance.
So when you mentioned try not to do 6th grade, that's because there's another program
Exactly.
that is being run to support them.
Correct.
That's why.
Right. So it's kind of the breakdown. There's where that one person from math we did for 6th grade, 7th math and language arts, 8th grade, seeing quite a few 8th graders. The ladies there and the gentlemen do a really great job of sending us the kids. So they're really promoted at the 8th grade level. 9th grade has been mainly biology and U.S. history. We haven't seen too many kids, or any, in terms of the math and the other areas. Civics, another tough class for some of the juniors, so that's why we've had the civics kids. And then I've also had kids from my medical terminology class, and we've had some calculus and higher levels of math as well. So those are the kids. As myself and Mr. Kniprath, some of the things we've done down at the Open Door Coffee House, for Mr. Kniprath, he had a final project in lieu of a final exam. So kids came down and he had his tripod out and he was filming helping them film and create their videos for their final exam. And it was supposed to be on 3 vocabulary terms. In total, we've had a servicing of about 40 students via the drop-in or through the appropriate appointment system. And again, numerous drop-ins from all subject areas. We've had 12 students attend preparation for their last unit test, and all received higher scores on this test. Whole point is tutoring. When I mention this to my wife, and we have in our district and being in other districts, again, having this opportunity for the kids in the local Mayville area to get extra help outside the normal hours, with athletics and everything else, this is a great program, and you should be commended on backing this program. I had 10 biology kids attend either the library or open door in preparation of their final exam. Again, I think that's a dedication to them and their parents of getting them to come on down there. And we had about 8 kids that worked on their final project with Mr. Kniprath for use history as well. The library, we're having a little hard time kind of pushing that through the door. Why? Well, okay, it's the library. And there's coffee at the open door. I mean, it's now if the library goes through with the new renovations and everything else, I think you're going to see an uptick on that as well. But again, I have had 15 different students attend the library program, and on one night I had 8 kids show up for extra help or tutoring. And again, more of the drop-in. Hey, can I come in tonight? Sure, come on down. But I have made parent appointments as well. So the library has been a program as well. Is that it? A couple other things just to pass along. We've had several teachers from the middle school mention to us via an email about the success they've seen when the kids have gone back to the middle school, seen an improvement, seen a couple of kids like thinking, wow, they're behind, and they were sent to us because they were behind in their homework, and now they've caught up or they're at that level or above, so that's a really good positive from the middle school's teacher's perspective. We've also had several emails from parents complimenting us and the kids, seeing the growth that they've seen from their children that they've brought down to the program. So I can entertain or try to answer any questions the board has tonight. I'll try.
Do you have a breakdown at all of public school students, parochial students, homeschool students?
I can look back. I don't have that with me. I would certainly say the majority. I believe we've had 1, maybe St. John's early on, maybe 2 St. John's students. The majority of our students are coming from the middle school or the high school. We do send this out, like I said, through the open door. They send it out to the homeschool students. I don't remember any homeschool students at the moment.
Key part is that you're offering the opportunity. This is number one is to offer the opportunity. The next part would be is, even with that, just to look at, okay, how do you get them engaged then? So for the different groups. So it is intended to be community-based. So it's great that all the participation you're talking about is awesome. So really it just comes down to is now how do you attract, what is it is it something different kind of experience that they're looking for? Would be at the end of the year. I wouldn't say you have to do anything different at all. It's just customer service wise. So what are these different entities looking for to be offered?
My perspective is, again, anytime we can work one-on-one with the student, they're going to be much better. And this is that opportunity where you can spend quality time. You can refocus a lot easier when you have one person. Like tonight, we had a young man in for working on his reading, and you could clearly see he was struggling. But at least you're right there, proximity. You can do that in a much better situation and setting than we can when we have 20, 25 kids, and we're trying to accomplish that. And so, again, bringing the parents, the one sort of minor thing occasionally we've run into, and then I do a follow-through. So if someone doesn't show up for an appointment, because we do want to have these kids in, you don't show up tonight, Scott, I'm going to call home to your mom, or I call home and find out, hey, what happened? We sent an email from Mr. Kniprath, you are confirmed from this date. We have had a few parents, unfortunately, miss the email communication, and we've had to call them up, oh yeah, we'll get them there, sorry, we forgot. And so we've missed out some opportunities where they've missed some appointments.
It's great to see the success this early.
Yeah, I say, like I said, I think this is a great program. I mean, the idea that we can provide a service, and again, we know as parents, if you send out to another tutoring service, the cost that involves for that, like a Sylvan Learning, things like that, this is a great thing the community is doing, so.
Well, thank you very much, Brad.
Thanks a lot. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any room on that board to move?
Speaking of the library, what's the progress on that?
We might be able to speak to the library facility. Have you heard anything recently?
Yep, they vetted architects and they've got, it's probably farther along than people may be aware of, simply because we've been meeting monthly, and it's progressing. I don't want to give, not that I don't want, I can't give a final date if the building process goes through, because as we know with our own building project, there's that.
When do they want to break ground? How about that?
I would say probably in about a year.
different than they come to the.
There's still some fundraising pieces that need to be put into place,
The
but
Pioneer
there's,
Foundation
yeah,
donated.
to some degree.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on down to new business. We have resolution 1920.